Hey Dragon Slayers, today's video is that, believe it or not, society used to fast. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps the channel out. Let's get started. In the 1970s, a typical American ate 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner, with no snacks in between. Data compiled from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey showed that an average of 3 eating opportunities per day. Dr. Fung grew up in the 1970s and remembers it as well. So, what would happen if we tried to get an after school snack? Usually, there would be a slap on the hand and some sort of warning or notice that you'll ruin your dinner. A typical day might include breakfast at 8 a.m., lunch at noon, dinner at 6. That means that you would be eating for 10 hours of the day, which is nicely balanced by 14 hours of fasting. And guess what? Obesity, type 2 diabetes, were not nearly the problems that they were today. The average number of meals and snacks consumed by adults increased from 3 per day in 1977 to almost 6 per day in 2003. So, does hunger and satiety drive eating anymore? Fast forward to today. Instead of trying to stop snacking, we actively encourage it in both adults and children. Some even feel that snacking more will help lose weight. As ridiculous as that sounds, consider Jason Fung's son's typical schedule. He eats breakfast the moment he wakes up. There's a mid-morning snack at school, then lunch, then an after-school snack and dinner, and then another snack between the halves of his soccer game, and then maybe a bedtime snack. He's eating 6 or 7 times a day on average. This is by no means atypical. The NHANES Institute data shows that the average American eats 5 or 6 times per day. So instead of having balanced periods of feeding and fasting, we are now eating perhaps 6 to 8 hours, 16 to 18 hours of the day, and only fasting for 6 to 8 hours. Is it any wonder that obesity has become an epidemic? To examine the reasons that fasting is more beneficial than most people think, let's start by looking at what actually goes on in the body when we eat and when we fast. This quote is from one of Fung's patients. Scott J. from Minneapolis says, "I think the hardest thing about fasting is deciding to do it. Getting it in my head that I can begin and make it through is very tough. But once I start, that block dissolves and it becomes easier." So that's what I've got for you guys today. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps the channel out. And remember, guys, that together, you and I will slay the dreaded diabetes dragon.